Insights Unplugged. We are thrilled to have Mr. Harish Menon with us, who will be sharing his valuable insight about BFSI sector. Let's dive into the conversation. Welcome to another exciting episode of College to Corporate Insight Unplugged, Season 3, Episode 5. This is the show that explores the fascinating world of invention, creativity, and technology. I am your host, Samip Parekh, and today we have a very special guest, Mr. Harish Menon, a BFSI delivery leader with over 25 years of IT experience. He is passionate about building and scaling practice lines and focused IT products on organizations such as Oracle, Intellect Design Arena, and Tech Mahindra. Additionally, Harish co-founded CreditSindhi.com, a digital lending platform featuring an algorithm credit scoring engine designed specifically for micro and small enterprises. While he possesses expertise in various areas of banking, his keen interest lies in lending and supply chain finance. Recently, Harish spearheaded the development and implementation of a supply chain finance platform for State Bank of India, the country's largest financial institution. His outstanding contribution to this project earned him an exceptional leadership award from the bank. We are very excited for this podcast as our viewer will gain valuable corporate knowledge from you. Before we begin, we would like to welcome you to the podcast series. Thank you for joining us, sir. How are you today?
Thank you for having me here. I'm doing very well. Happy to connect with you guys.
Thank you so much, sir. Can we start with the question, sir?
Yeah, of course, of course.
So, Mr. Harish, can you walk us through our journey and what led you to pursue a career in BFSI?
Yeah. See, basically, when I started my career, as usual, I started as trainee programmer and traversed through different domains over the first 5 6 years, and then I realized that one of the important and very mission critical application runs in the BFSI segment. That's how in 2005 I thought of migrating myself into the BFSI segment. And while I was exploring the opportunities, I found out that iFlex is one of the best in the Indian context. Uh, Indian context in the sense Indian company, and fortunately, I got selected there, and it formed my career there with respect to my BFSI journey in general, as well as my formation or the transformation as a leader with respect to the domain, with respect to the technology, and the approach towards running practice lines and departments and things like that. I got a lot of opportunity in iFlex. It transformed into Oracle Financial Services. I was part of that transformation. So a lot of credit goes to that organization to help me grow in career. So that is how, and after 2005, I have never changed my domain. I like my domain a lot, and then I'm continuing there.
That was a very focused approach, sir. Could you share the details about the supply chain finance platform you developed for State Bank of India? What particular changes does it address?
See, essentially, this project was incubated by State Bank of India in 2021. The overall scenario has been that the MSME loan segment need to be supported to grow India into a $5 trillion economy and further. So that is, we have to contextualize like MSME lending in this case also. So supply chain finance was going to be one of the important spoke in making that happen, because it comes with certain type of guarantee, not exactly the guarantee, but it was better than the business loans. So supply chain finance was supposedly growing 35% to 50% per annum from 2021 onwards through from some analytical companies. So that is where the State Bank of India embarked upon revamping their legacy platform. Legacy platform was monolith, which was not scalable to the level that SBI was looking for the growth. So that is how the journey started. The key challenges for the monolith application is that the traditional way of development and implementation took longer time. Then multiple points of failures where there one application goes down, everything goes down. Whereas in the newer architecture, you might heard of cloud architecture, microservices based, and things like that. There, it happens that the primary objective is that avoid single point of failure. So, in the supply chain finance parlance, as a simple example for you, financial guys, it's like that if the dealer finance is not working for a given day because of some reason or the other, the vendor finance will work, and vice versa, so that the business is not completely stopped. That was one of the things that business should run as usual, reduce the downtime, in short, on a daily basis, and then the scalability. The bank was expecting several fold growth in the next 3 to 5 years. So I would not be able to divulge the exact numbers, but the growth and scalability was one of the key criteria to select the technology and build it from the scratch.
Okay, so that was very nice. Moving further, what key leadership traits are necessary for a successful BFSI leader?
Uh, See, I would little bit generalize that corporate world should come with some personal traits. Some of the things we may need to de-educate ourselves and re-educate over a period of time. For example, one if very very few things I would like to point out to you. That is, one is the fairness in your deal with your the complete ecosystem. I would say your supervisors, your peers, and your juniors. So you have to deal with fairness. You have to give opportunity to the people, and very importantly, you have to mentor and coach your juniors. That is what they expect from you, and that's where you gather respect also. Because there are two types of leadership which you might have read. One is about being bossy and finding fault in every places, and the second thing is that yes, of course you find fault or risks in certain activities in your team, but you need to extend that or walk that extra mile to coach your juniors. So this is one of the very important lesson which I have learned over a period of time. From another point of view, for a technocrat, people who aspire to be associated with any technical job such as programming or managerial even, then in that case you should choose a domain. You if you jump from healthcare to inventory management to ERP to BFSI to equity or capital markets, then at the end of about 20-25 years of your career, you realize that you are just your domain knowledge is not deep enough, which is expected in the market. So for anybody who seek my advice is that, of course, the technical part is important, but don't forget about the domain, because eventually that is what is going to identify you. For example, people talk to me not because I have done large projects to yes, of course, but not because I know Java or Oracle or for that matter AWS. People talk to me because I have done something in the MSME lending and supply chain finance. Because on the other side there are plenty of people around, but in the case of supply chain finance and MSME lending, there are always new perspective, and I like to learn things and implement some of the things which is allowed. So that way, domain is very important. I mean, select one domain and be within that will help in the longer run.
Definitely, sir. This advice will definitely help our viewers. How do you manage and inspire your team?
One thing very important is that, see, specifically whether it is small project or large project, people think that it is different way of managing team in the case of smaller project or larger project. But essentially, very little difference that is not in the management of the people. The first thing is that you should have a goal setting. As a team, you should have a vision how to organize the things and how to reach step to the destination. And from program managers to project managers to project leads and up to the bottom level of that particular tree, up to the leaves, that is actually the coders, all of them need to know exactly what is supposed to be done by each of them. And that's the first set. First part is that align with the goal, the entire team, then you can lead. Then the second thing is that very important is that be fair and be communicative to the people at every stage. So you when I say that communicative, where are we going wrong, how do we need to correct it, all these things need to be discussed periodically, like very important to have governance meetings. So essentially these are the few things which I do, uh, which keeps people motivating. There are good books on goal setting. I suggest some of the books, which is important for people to understand that how to set the goal for themselves in their career and particular project and things like that. One very important thing why I mentioned is that there is no particular difference or in terms of managing the team with the large programs or the smaller ones, because in the large programs there are you might do some mistakes and you have the time to correct it. But in smaller programs like 6 months project or 3 months project, then you don't have the room for making mistakes, because by that time, by the time you recover, you will lose precious time compared to the larger programs. So one day for a 2 days work, 2 day delay is 100% overrun, right? So there is it is very risky, and it need to be completely monitored in the smaller programs, because that is where the difficulties are there. Of course, in the larger programs has got different set of difficulties, but essentially team alignment is the key important thing which is common for both the type of programs in terms of the size.
Thank you so much, sir. Your words will definitely inspire our viewers for their leadership traits in the coming future. Sir, what trends do you think will shape the future of technology in banking and financial services?
Essentially every technology, anybody thought of AI to be so much prominent in the new world before 10 or 15 years? No, nobody virtual reality, augmented reality and things like that, nobody visualized that. So it is pretty much difficult to predict that way what will happen in terms of technology. But essentially, by looking at the trend, as of now, the technology is more and more moving about data management. Earlier, there was a lot of data which was gathered, but after AI, ML, and generative AI and things like that coming in, how to read that data? See, data and information are two different things. You might have observed that data do not give away information unless it is analyzed, identified a pattern, anti-pattern, and put it in the proper perspective. There is no information associated to it. So AI is going to help you in a lot of things. For example, in the case of credit underwriting, so there are a lot of data which used to be collected manually and analyzed manually, and that's why the loan dispersal was taking 26, 28 working days for the banks about 2-3 years ago. Now it has come down to average of 10 to 12 days. Business loans, I'm talking about MSME loans. Why? Because a lot of automation has happened, and there are a lot of fintech companies who come in and analyze the data and give you the deep insights about the data, rather than one person sitting there and figuring out what exactly is happening, whether
Yes.
to do it or whether to fund them or not. So AI ML is going to play a very important role. I would say that some of the things which are coming up probably in the in the space of augmented reality, virtual reality. These things can add something to uh, what do you call recovery of loans. For example, the vehicle, by looking at it, by looking into the vehicle's number plate itself, figure out you can if it is properly connected and developed, then probably the lease and lending business can be better controlled in terms of delinquencies. And IoT can do a uh, they can do a positive role in what about ATMs and things like that, the equipments, for example, point of sales equipments. So I think that there are a lot of opportunity which is coming up uh, in the case of utilizing the latest technologies in the BFSI segment. The I think new things might evolve also. Generative AI, still people are figuring out how to do that, except for writing emails and letters and welcome letters to customized letters, welcome letters to the customers. There would be more and more ways and means people will figure out that how to use the latest technologies than I say. Because some of the things which I have said, people have started finding out. Some of the fintech companies across the globe, they connect through the satellite and figure out that what is the plot area for which you have applied for an agriculture loan, and whether they that particular area is what do you call supporting the particular crop and things like that. There are a lot of research happening in those spaces also, especially in the agri tech. So I mean, earlier we never thought of using some of these things like satellite imaging to do that. Then the second thing which I have seen is that through the AI, the picture of a shop is analyzed and probably figuring out how much what is the stock value. So this is possible today. So these are the changes. The applications people are discovering more and more that how these new technologies are, or rather, can be utilized to fasten the whole of, or rather, traversing into digital world. So that is a very interesting topic. Of course, a lot of things will emerge in the next 2 years also. So let's wait for that. Let us look forward for good things to come in.
Yes, sir, definitely. Moving further, sir, in your opinion, what is the future of digital lending in India?
India is, I would say, in the cusp of all these changes in digital lending. So, to give you an example, that there are a lot of things which has happened over the last several years in India for MSME lending. Why? Because MSME is supporting the bigger organizations in terms of their supply chains and providing parts to, for example, parts to the manufacturing companies, automobile manufacturing companies, easy to map. So even today, uh, there is a credit deficit of $530 billion in India. So these many people are deprived of the credit facility, formal credit facility. So they might be raising money from their friends and families, but that's not the formal one. That there is a limit to it. So in India, it's 530 billion US dollars is the deficit, and as per the G20 report, the countries who are participants of G20 has got a deficit of $5.2 trillion deficit in the MSME segment. So I'm very pretty much happy that India is doing much about this deficit. We have different frameworks which is already there. One is account aggregator. Your bank accounts are aggregated into one particular place where the bank statement analysis can help you to for credit worthiness assessment. Then another one is at OCEN, that is pronounced as OCEN, that is Open Credit Network, Open Credit Network. it is difficult for me to remember the full form of it. We are so used to the short forms. So then there is Aadhaar-based authentication. All these things are fastening the things, the credit part. So in the digital lending, the the framework is already there. OCN, OCN, uh, account aggregator, Aadhaar based, GSTIN, UPI2. Lot of things are going to help us in what you call running in front of all other countries with respect to the digital lending business. Also, I have seen a trend that the initially the digital onboarding was mostly limited to the retail customers such as you and me, but now that phase is over. It is now moving to the uh, corporate world, MSMEs and the bigger larger corporates where the digital onboarding is happening. uh, Agri-tech is coming up. MSME lending is all the PS, even the PSBs, public sector banks are all going into the digital onboarding and processes and things like that. Corporate lending has already moved on with the things. Even in the wealth management space, such as capital market, there also the digital lending, digital onboarding process is happening. So digital onboarding, and then the second part is about credit underscoring and things like that, which will happen through different frameworks, which is available today. So all put together, I think India is going to be the happening place in the world with respect to this lending business and digital world.
Definitely, sir. Your views on India is very enlightening and very insightful, sir. So, how do you think the algorithm-based alternative credit scoring methodologies can help small enterprises thrive?
Yeah. I think that's a very interesting question because when I started my entrepreneurial journey, uh, that was one of the key problems that we were trying to solve. Not only the digital onboarding, digital underwriting, but for digital underwriting, we need to figure out that what kind of algorithm we can use it. Because see, there are three types of companies in India, irrespective of private limited or sole proprietor and things like that. One is digitally lit. That means you have financial statements, you have GSTIN and things like that. The second part is that digitally dark. I mean, completely in oblivion. They don't know how to prepare a financial statement, how to take a formal loan and things like that. The third part is that the digitally, I would say, gray in between the dark and the digitally lit. So that was the challenge that we took up because everything cannot be changed in a single day. Rome is not built in one day, right? So we took up the second category where digitally semi lit. They were not having the balance sheets or financial statements per se, but they were having uh, the proper transaction details of the sales, purchases. Then they were having bank statements, and 50 to 60% of their transactions were going through the bank statements. And they have a way of some patterns in terms of their working. So that is what we analyzed, and then a lot of data collection had to be done through physical means because one of the major challenges for these at that category of the MSMEs are that, I would say, micro and small, are that loan is taken for one purpose and the utilization is done for another purpose. For example, people take loan for expanding their grocery shop, but that will be utilized to buy a bike for his son. So that kind of things are very common in India. So then what will happen is that there is obviously the repayment will be a problem and the delinquency is going to hit this account. So essentially we couldn't do completely digital in those segments. So we made it phygital. So some people will go observe how is it demography, things like that, analyze the digitally available document, and we used to underwrite them. And The key part was that the ticket size was small. We started with up to 5 lakhs loans, but we have never issued 5 lakhs loan, but to 2 lakhs, etc. we issued because that was a category which was really underserved. So they used to repay in 9 to 10 months or 12 months and things like that. So things were arranged like that. So this particular algorithm, we brought in data from multiple sources and analyzed through Python programming. Then eventually some ML algorithms are used and matched with industry parameters, and then the underwriting was done. So this fastened up. The key point was that once the data is punched in with all sections are filled in, relevant sections are filled in, we could underwrite them in 5 minutes. Completely data is brought in, analyzed, and they will get a credit score based on which what would be the tenure, what the amount to be dispersed, and what would be the rate of interest. I mean, risk-adjusted rate of interest. Everything used to come out in a very simple report, and with some graphical representation. If somebody wanted to compare it with the industry specific details and things like that, so it helped a lot. In 5 minutes, underwriting is it was quite remarkable for such smaller entities who were not having completely digital accounts.
So you've solved a great problem, I guess. Like initiated a problem solving thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So how do you maintain a work-life balance in such a demanding industry? And what hobbies or activities do you enjoy in your free time?
Yeah. First of all, you should fall in love with what you are doing. Then there is no question of work-life balance. But obviously, I know that where you are coming from, because you have a family, you have work, close family and extended family, I would say. So there is a lot of balancing to be done. But what practically helped me, I'll tell you, is that, see, uh, point number one is that there is a period of up and down in terms of the balance. It cannot be 50% for your work and 50% for your family, because when you take up new challenges, you have to spend more time to understand what exactly are the problem, how to solve it. So your mind and body and knowledge gathering antennas are going to be working overtime to gather those intelligence and then process it. So that time the work-life balance, so-called work-life balance, will be tilted more towards the professional things. Once it is settled down, it can be 50%, or sometimes it can be more than that with respect to the family. So it is like a wave fashion. Sometimes it tilted towards the professional part because you have to excel in profession also, isn't it? So learning is one important thing. Getting into a new organization will definitely require more time for you to understand that company, their products, the way of working, the people, how they behave, how they what is the value system and things like that. So it really likes it is really like tilting towards both sides. So sometimes towards the professional life, sometimes towards the personal life. I think once the new generation who are coming to hit the corporate world very soon, if you understand like that, that will be very great for your career also. I always say that this is how the system works, not like that from start to end. It cannot be 50%, because professional, at the end of it, the profession will feel that happiness that you have done something great in every quarter, every year, things like that, that will grow, that will make you grow in your career also. So that is one part of it. So you asked a second question that, what do I do during my leisure time. I do whatever it makes my mind fresh. Sometimes I watch movies, documentaries, and small movies. I generally do not like movies like 2.5 hours, because I thought I think it's a little bit dragging unless it is excellent movie. So usually I watch 90 minutes movies, and I am I love sports. Okay, so the tennis, badminton, cricket, all cricket. I now not I won't watch that much because it takes time. So tennis or badminton is easier because it completes in a jiffy. So most of the matches. So I follow sports. I watch movies. I read books. So both mostly about how to change yourself during the course of your journey is very important. One point I would add like that, because I missed to add that. See, at each level of your career, you may need to acquire new skills. So at 2 years experience, your skill set would be different versus what is required at 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So learning is very important aspect of any professional who wanted to excel in the world as of today, whether it is corporate or whether it is public sector. It's very true. So reading habit need to be inculcated in the in your career plan also. That is, I actually, all these things I learned it through hard ways. I used to read a lot during my college days, but for some reason I was focusing more on my career, and then I lost touch for about 5 6 years. But I caught up after that, saying a lot of things are changing, and I'm not probably prepared for that. So I did a lot of reading afterwards. So I mean, as a senior professional, I would advise all of you to not to lose any touch, if with respect to gathering knowledge through reading.
So you have definitely changed or explained rightly the meaning of work-life balance, what it actually means, and definitely we will like adapt the habit of reading in our daily lives. So,
Yeah.
what surprising talent you have, and what advice would you offer MBA students as they prepare to enter corporate world?
Surprising talent. Yeah, one talent, I probably, I'm not sure whether it is a talent. I gel with any age, any generation. Okay. During my school days, always I used to talk to a lot of seniors. I used to gather their wisdom. I used to talk to juniors now to gather their wisdom, because I'm managing most of my juniors. So if they are receiving their well, then I can connect with them, and probably talk in the terms that they would understand. So I can connect with any generation on any topic. That could be one of the surprising facts even for me, because I don't feel like that I am alienated in any places. So that is one point. The for MBA students, definitely, you are going to be the drivers in the managerial world today, tomorrow, day after, and things like that. With the whole matter is about identifying your style of leadership. Okay. What it works for me might not directly work for you per se. So you have to figure out that what best works, when it best works. I'll give you an example. When the project, whatever you undertake, is in trouble, and you are the department head, you have to make it correct. Then probably a lot of democracy would not work. You need to be assertive. You don't need to be overly aggressive, but you need to be assertive that I need this. Roles and responsibilities need to be ascertained by you. But in the case of a project which is about to start, there is new things coming in. You get people to share their opinions, and finally you decide what to do. At the end of it, the decision is supposed to be made by you if you are given a responsibility of a department. That's why you are there, because of your experience in the things. So learn your way of managing things. There is no what do we call thumb rule in that, but two things. One is about honesty and integrity. So treat your seniors, peers, and your juniors with honesty and integrity. They will respond to you when the project is, when your work is in trouble. They will definitely support you. I mean, 80-90% of the people. Some of the people are not at all motivated to do any job. So leave aside and leave that part aside. But otherwise, integrity and honesty is a very important virtue. People will appreciate and people will follow you as a leader.
Thank you so much, sir, for being on the podcast. We appreciate your insight into technology and leadership in BFSI sector. Our discussion on innovation, personal growth, and work-life balance was truly enlightening. Your passion for adaptability and vision will inspire our listeners. It was a pleasure to learn from you, and we look forward to more conversation. Wishing you all the best on the journey as you navigate the exciting world of technology and leadership. May you find inspiration in every challenge and continue to grow both personally and professionally. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, could you please share your experience on the podcast?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure to have a very fruitful conversation with you. Some of the things were very interesting topic for me that itself would have been elaborated into another 1 hour or so. But I try to minimize my verbiages and focus on the key points only. Yes, it is very enlightening. I really appreciate that questions that you have asked me. It is very much pertinent and relevant to the current context and current you know way of life, especially about the work-life balance, because the once you come out of the college, then you don't know what to expect. So essentially, I think the most valuable piece of information I gave you is probably the work-life balance, how to look at it. If you set your expectations right, then definitely you will grow in your career, and then you will find a right balance, probably in a similar fashion I explained to you guys.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience.
Thank you for joining us for episode 5. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. You can find us on Spotify as well. So connect with us on social media and more exciting content. Stay tuned for episode 6.